Alright guys, here we go again with another of our Evolution Consulting market updates. This one being recorded, the 28th of April 2016. Okay, and it's, for those of you that want to check a chart, you're watching this, it was a 210 point down day on the Dow side. NASDAQ got rid of 57 points and S&P was down 19, but nonetheless, I'm making the smug face. Why could that be? Let's go down the list of some of the stuff we've recommended over the last 60, 90 days. Remember we told you about those 30, 60, 90-day trades, and we are GDXJ, we're up 4%. NUGT, we're up 13.25%, which went through the $100 level for the first time today. Cool. All right, we got SLVP. We're up 5%. USLV, we're up 6%. Barracks Gold, we're up 6%. 5.5%. Eldorado Gold are up 4%. UWTI, our speculative crude play, we're up 1.85%, nearly 2%. Okay, and all things considered, for those of you that might be doubting as to whether or not Evolution 4.0 and ultimately the Evolution Ultra system is the real deal, when you're showing those kind of numbers in the green on 200, 300 point down days, you're doing it right. Put it that way. So we're pretty darn proud of the system that we built here. That's for sure. But nonetheless, I did want to do a quick market update as opposed to just sitting here and telling you all the wonderful gains that we're making. We did want to kind of put another one of those speculative news-driven plays out there. Okay, which revolves around a company whose stock symbol is the same name as the company, FLIR. Which stands for, those of you with a background in military will probably know this, or those that play way too many video games probably the way I do, FLIR, Forward-Looking Infrared. For those of you that might be a bit older, you would recognize some of the footage from FLIR cameras from like the Gulf War, gun camera footage from aircraft like the AC-130 Spooky Spectre, gunships, as well as other just camera devices. Even some of the news stations use them now. However, for those of you that play video games, you're probably familiar with FLIR scopes, particularly Battlefield 4, which is one of my personal weapons of choice. That being said, the FLIR scope, basically, without making this long and boring, uses differentiations in temperature, thermal, as well as high-resolution imaging to basically be able to see through stuff. You can see through bushes, you see somebody hiding behind something that's very thin. Okay, or you can see temperatures like if you're a firefighter, for instance, you can see various heat areas and such. That's what FLIR does. Usually it's varying shades of gray, grayscale, black and white, and it does use obviously the differentiation in heat as well as some light to basically, and it's obviously night vision, see in the dark. And the difference between conventional night vision and FLIR is, if you guys are familiar with like the varying shades of green, that was originally in Vietnam era called something called a starlight scope, which just magnifies ambient light. Okay, tremendously similar to the way the rods and cones in a nocturnal animal's eyes would work in the dark. It takes what teeny little bits of ambient light are there and it magnifies it, giving you night vision. Now, obviously, from the 60s to current, that technology has improved. They have generation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 night vision, and incidentally, both are consumer available, oddly enough. But nonetheless, FLIR is one of those plays that we're putting in the same categories like Smith & Wesson, Olin, of which both are doing tremendously well, but in the kind of civil defense slash militarization of police slash Trump might build a border wall play. Okay, their first quarter earnings, their top line, their bottom line, all that good stuff. I mean, it was pretty solid. Revenues up, all the technicals, blah blah blah. If you want that kind of stuff, CNBC, have at it, guys. But as far as using Evolution 4.0 to kind of forecast the growth for the FLIR company, basically what we've come up with is this, guys. First of all, World War III averted. If you guys listen to me, if you guys listen to the Evolution team, when we were doing the test of concept phase, okay, we talked a lot about the BRICS nations being calm, cool, and collected enough and calculating enough, okay, to really stay calm in the wake of a lot of what we forecast. We're not going to talk about them now, but manipulation and attempts to false flag, if you want to use that word, one of the conspiracy theory crowd's favorite words, a version of World War III. All right, now apparently enough people that are in positions of power paid enough attention to World War II to know exactly what's going on and went, oh, no, you don't. Okay, so that being said, what we've seen is kind of this move away from Cold War V 2.0 and World War III type large scale, large weapons platforms, very expensive, very intricate weapons platforms, to smaller, more tactical applications, special forces level, military police level, and other applications as well. But in the wonderful world of nationalism, where Trump's talking about building his border wall and there's going to be deportations and all that, that's going to require significant purchase if he actually plans on doing that, and he is elected. Which, based upon the most recent 5-state sweep, including Evolution's adopted home state of Pennsylvania, good on you, Mr. Trump. We try to remain politically atheistic, but it's hard not to kind of give a thumbs up to a guy like that for doing what he's doing, whatever his motivations may be. He's certainly, he's entertaining, we'll give him that. But nonetheless, as we see a kind of a transition towards more of the, again, the militarized police and paramilitary, the growth of private companies, like your XE, which used to be known as Blackwater and stuff, we see the demand for the FLIR stuff going up. Okay, especially, you got a 1,000-mile long border wall. Let's say that gets built, and one thing that we will say from a purely political observation standpoint is that he built his campaign around the idea of building a wall. Okay, he's got to do it. Okay, otherwise that's an instantaneous one-term deal, because like I said, if I was going to run against him in, was it 2020 is going to be the next election, all I would do is just stand on the Mexican border like this and go, where the F's the wall. Okay, so he's got to make some kind of progress towards it. And the news of that and the rumor of that, whether or not he does, we have no idea, and we really don't care, but the news and the rumor of that, okay, is going to drive growth in companies like FLIR and in Smith & Wesson. Again, you're going to encourage that kind of domestic nationalism, and that translates to Wall Street, guys. It does. All right. So what we're doing is we're as we've proven already, especially with these metals plays, especially with the crude oil plays that we made, even Century Aluminum, by the way, CENX, good on you, stock cats, man, for great stock to research there. We called that almost perfect, with the exception of it passing through our buy stop order on the bottom by a couple of pennies, but still, that was over 100% gain, and that was only 2 weeks, I think, we were in that play. So, we would suggest still, stay long. That company's got a lot of potential. Even Timken Steel was rocking. So, nonetheless, Wall Street is going to trade. Remember, as we try to describe it, they're trading on the most irrational thing that all of humanity has. Well, most of humanity, emotion. They're trading on perception. So that being said, again, it's a very easy play. As we approach the more, the nationalist rhetoric, and if it looks like Trump's going to win, which it does. By the way, we will admit when one of our forecasts is wrong. Okay, we forecasted Trump to score Fiorina as his running mate. All right, and we were absolutely 100% incorrect on that. The linguistics pointed to it, the statistical probabilities pointed to that, and it just didn't happen. So there's one we were wrong on. Okay, but in terms of driving nationalist rhetoric and driving that smaller, more, I want to call civil defense level type stuff, where you'll need, let's face it, guys, it's not hard. Again, you have to think of it in terms of stay ahead of institutional money. You have to think, what would a guy in a trading desk bring to his managing director and go, because that, okay, and it makes sense. It's a logical trade, okay? So, in addition to having the news behind it, all right, you're going to build a 1,000-mile border wall. You're going to need high-end security on that. You're going to need high-end surveillance on that, okay? In addition to making stuff like rifle scopes and small arms scopes, which, by the way, to support some more of what we discovered with the Smith & Wesson play and the Olin Winchester ammunition play, amongst others, is, guys, they're retail available. If you really want to buy a FLIR scope for your 50 caliber rifle, which means you would effectively have the same weapons platform as a Navy SEAL level sniper, okay, or a Delta Force level sniper, if you got anywhere between about $5,000 to $10,000, even $2,500 in some cases for the lower end ones, believe it or not, you can own a forward-looking infrared rifle scope on your 50 caliber BMG rifle if you really want. Which again means if you suddenly feel the need to go out like vehicle hunting, okay, you can do that because a 50 cal round will pass through an engine block. It's exactly what it's designed for, amongst other things. Or as we like to call it, it's an anti-everything round. But nonetheless, you can buy those, so they are readily available. But as we see that, which again supports the notion of like, is there really, with all the gun legislation and all the freakouts going on, is there anything that you could really want to buy that you couldn't buy 10 years ago because of firearms legislation. If there was ever a glaring example of, Second Amendment here, have all the weaponry you want so all the morons kill each other, there's a perfect example. But again, in a news-driven market, a nationalist market, there is going to be, by the way, we do forecast another uptrend for gun sales. If Trump does take office, a surge in nationalism somehow translates into we're going to be patriotic and buy more guns type stuff. That's a very real possibility. That's a very real trend that should send SWHC and OLN higher. But in terms of a speculative play, guys, they do have other sectors. I mean, they do make some. They're doing a lot in emerging markets. They do a lot in the police and fire type stuff, which is a firefighter goes into a building. It's a lot easier to see through thick smoke with a FLIR scope, being able to use thermal to scan a room than it is to crawl around in the dark kind of going like that, okay? So those have become very popular, especially amongst municipal fire departments, big city fire departments. They do make instruments for lab work. They do make, a lot of stuff for maritime also, both on the commercial shipping level, the naval warship level, and also the, believe it or not, the retail level. Just when I was getting out of the luxury yacht sales business, they were just starting to become the must-have gadget on yachts that are, and I call them yachts, but anyway, boats that are 60 to 75 feet and then up through your 85, 90. Now you're getting into the real yacht class, okay? They were very popular, so if you had your chart plotter, your radar, your autopilot, your Glendining engine synchronizer, and you had all the gadgetry on there, the super cool must-have gadget was they would mount a FLIR camera either up on the fly bridge or the tuna tower or the radar arch of a luxury yacht. And then, of course, I got a chance to play with one of them, which I thought was really cool. And it is. I mean, it's like, you're kind of scanning around with the joystick, and the camera has 360 degrees of view, and it really is very clever. But so they've seen a kind of an increase in demand there as well, and I can verify that both through Evolution 4.0 and the fact that it's a business I was in for a long time. All right? But that being said, guys, if you want to go speculative and you want to add one to the 30, 60, 90-day play file, and again, put a stop under it, if you want to go 5% on a stop and again, we encourage trailing stops on all the things that we do, obviously more so on the metals trades and the 3x long ETFs and such, because they're just, give them a little bit more room to run. It's just the nature of the beast, so to speak. But if you guys want to take a look at FLIR, I mean, they got wailed on today a little bit. They're down around what are they down at? About 30.75 level, guys. If you want to put a 28 and a half buy order in place, see if you can catch it at the very tippity bottom of that dip. I mean, it touched $30 today. But apart from that, if you want to put a play in there, that's one of those 30, 60, 90-day plays. Again, we're not forecasting like the instant gratification of like a GDXJ where you're 10% up on your money, or GDXJ where you're 4% up on your money, or an NUGT where you're 13% up on your money. Guys, if you're day trading those, awesome. Guys, if you're playing options on those, if you want to send me a bottle of scotch, I mean, like Macallan 21 would be cool. All right. Or Macallan 12, excuse me. Dyslexic today. But actually, any 20-year-old single malt would be fine. But as far as the instant gratification of those plays, guys, FLIR is going to be one of those longer-term 30, 60, 90 speculative plays where if it does get the momentum, we forecast that it's just going to keep going. And that's into, again, the rah-rah, we call it the Hacksaw Jim Duggan effect, for those of you who can remember the WWF wrestler with the American flag and a 2x4, all right? We call that one of those nationalist plays where, again, it's very easy for somebody that even works at the institutional level, so we stay ahead of the institutional money, right, to walk in and go to their managing director and say, hey, because that, and then the play works, and they look like a friggin' genius. All they're doing is trading the obvious logic. Okay, we like to stay ahead of them. So that being said, take a look at FLIR, guys. Again, put a buy order in. If you want to go current levels off the dip, maybe we'll catch another quick few bucks in a recovery. But FLIR and companies like, and we're going to research more of them as, again, we're seeing that shift away from those Cold War era super big expensive weapons platforms like the J-35, which was just a complete disaster. I don't know how to put that any other way. I'm an aviation enthusiast, and that the amount of money spent on like the J-35 Lightning versus the what it offers, value for money, was just like, what'd you do that for, guys? So with that being said, as we see again that move away from the big weapons platforms like the World War III, and we do realize there's you have the Russian fighter jets and they're buzzing American reconnaissance planes, whatever, guys. It happened during the Cold War for 50 years. Okay, that's a product of boredom. I hate to say it, and again, having a lot of friends that are military, largely that is the product of boredom. You know, when you have pilots that fly the same patrol routes every single day, if there's another airplane in the airspace, like let's go have some fun, and it really is the Top Gun effect. You know, nothing better to do, and it's, you know, I don't think a lot of that is done maliciously. You know, obviously you have a little bit of tension building in the South China Sea, but again, I think BRICS nations and enough of the Anglo-Western system, America, the United States, and you know the EU, I think they're cool enough at this point. And they know enough of their World War II history to go, not this time. Think again. All right, trying to fund another banker World War III type thing or Cold War V 2.0, John McCain style. So that being said, guys, take a look at FLIR. Current levels, having a good week already so far, off to a good start. Metals up, we like that sort of thing. Wore the gold polo shirt to celebrate the metals having a pretty decent day today. So that being said, guys, FLIR and companies like FLIR, we'll see if we can get a few more of those for you, the smaller tactical stuff. But again, put that in your, I call them chaos plays, guys. Smith & Wesson, Olin Ammunition. We're going to take a look to see one of the sectors we do want to research a little bit is non-lethal technology, crowd control technology. We did a little bit of that in Wirehouse last month about the application of automated robots for crowd control, like demonstrations and stuff. And some of the information we found, we had a lot of fun with that because we kind of gamed out our own design a little bit of what something like that could look like, and it was actually a lot of fun doing that. So that said, FLIR, FLIR. Take a look, guys, and put that one in your chaos play. I call that the implosion of social order. Temporarily, such that a lot of those equities that do manufacture the small arms and the like I said, stuff like FLIR and stuff like night vision and non-lethal. By the way, one company that's not publicly traded that we wish was. And if you look at their filings, you know why. It's a company called Safariland Group, and they manufacture a lot of the CS, the capsium smoke, and all that good stuff. But one more we'll research for you, we promise, is polycarbonate plastics manufacturers that go into ballistic face shields, riot shields, and stuff like that. So that being said, guys, hope you're enjoying these, and I've been kind of searching around for a. I said every kind of news reporter, every kind of television personality over there has one of their sign-off catchphrases, and I know I always say, it'd be good, guys, and that's just kind of my way of saying, adios. Kind of use that one every day, but I've been kind of searching around, and just last night I was kind of inspired, man, and I said, you know what? I said, I finally figured it out. It's our approach to trading, kind of mirrors my approach to life, man. I said, you know what? So I'm going to leave you with this. Guys, be good. Everything is a transaction.